Welcome to the KDFL Fantasy Football Podcast. It's me, Brett Steele, and we are captainless this week. But joining me, as always, Jonathan Detroit Haynes. How's it going, man?
Yo, it's going great. Couldn't be better.
Yeah, let's give the people a quick rundown of what's happening here. You can hear my voice. I haven't had a voice all week. I finally got it back just enough to do this podcast. You, sir, are sitting there without power. So completely cut out. What?
Just getting over COVID too.
Yeah. So we are crawling to the seasonal finish line here at the KDFL. We're still in our Christmas festive moods. But speaking of the KDFL, let me see if I can get this going the way I want to here. We had our first round of the playoffs this week. Let's see if I can get this going.
We need a Hank for this thing.
We need a Hank for this for sure. Bear with us, folks. This is going to be the roughest episode of the year. Here we go. Share the screen. That's fine. I want to share this bad boy. There we are.
Oh, nice.
All right. So we start with our Golden Deuce Consolation Tournament. Detroit, feel free to take it away.
Yes, this first matchup we have is the defending Deuce champ, the Nocatee Zen Masters taking on my Elkview River Rats. The Zen Masters riding with Trevor Lawrence, who is hot once again this week, getting 31 points. That's about it. He has a couple players in defense scoring double digits. My team was led by Derek Carr, 21 points.
Oh, man.
And, of course, that running back Mustard. Getting me. That's about it. I mean, these games we're not going to, these scores aren't going to be all that great. But I held on with 202 to 173. I guess I was really not holding on since I won my 30 points.
That's right. All right. So next up, we have the Kanawha County Kings taking on the Wake Forest Lumberjacks. And it is by far the most impressive performance for the Kings. Zay Jones with 35 points on his 3-touchdown effort. Chris Godwin is the leading scorer for the Lumberjacks with 22 of his own. Justin Simmons and Shaq Thompson combined for 36 on the defensive side for Wake Forest, but that's about all he had. A.J. Dillon with a very impressive 24, and the Brock Dirty Purdy pours in 19. And the Kings get the win in advance in a blowout to 66 to 153. Now, take us to the actual KDFL Championship tournament.
Yes. By the way, I love the loser on top of the team that lost.
I thought that was a nice little touch. Yeah.
Next, we go to Cross Vegas as the Gamblers, who were champs just 2 years ago, taking on the St. Albans Centers. In this, we had a matchup of Sparty quarterback against Wolverine quarterback. And this time, Sparty takes down the Wolverine 35 to 18 in points scored. Centers also got big games out of Jones and Stevenson. They rack up 261, the Gamblers 200, and that locks me in for pick number 8 because I have Nick's draft pick. So, woo!
The KDFL draft, as this playoffs continue, will obviously start to form its order as well. So that's always something to watch out for. Finally, in our final matchup of the first round of the KDFL playoffs, we had the Hurricane, or the Wampus Cats, in their inaugural playoff game, host the Midnight Riders. Jarrett McKinnon continues an impressive couple games. He pours in 34 for the Midnight Riders. He continues to be that massive check down target for Patrick Mahomes. A.J. Brown, a Wampus Cat new addition this year. He scores 29 and leads all scorers for Hurricane. It's just too much firepower for Marmette. Justin Jefferson with 30. Duggar with 22 on the defensive side. And with we're looking at the Wampus Cats, all they really have is Christian Kirk pouring in the measly 15. That's not going to get it done in the playoffs. The season team advances. Midnight Riders win 254 to 191. And that's it for your KDFL round 1 and round 1 of the Golden Douche playoff results.
Woo.
All right. So we're back to here now. Flawless technique on my part. All right. Let's kick to the NFL now. Oh, one quick thing about the Wampus Cats. What hurt them, they were built around 2 QBs. Obviously, they lose Kyler Murray last week, and Herbert only gave him 8. So it's not going to get it done in the playoffs.
Well, Bustin, I know all about making the playoffs and being one and done. So welcome to the club. Hey,
the team has been built, though. He did make it to into the playoffs. So kudos to the Wampus Cats on a season, on a good season. All you want to do is be better than you were the year before, and he certainly achieved that. So props to the Wampus Cats. Props to the Gamblers for making it again. He's got a pretty decent postseason streak, I believe now. So props to them both. But get your tackle box. They're going fishing. There you go. All right. All right, let's talk some NFL. Let's start like we always do. State of the teams, and I will cede the floor here to you because somebody's team is red hot right now.
That's right, man. How about them Lions? Forward down the field. When this team started out 1-6, I was ready to cut off Jared Goff's head. Call, I was all, it's all fine and dandy with your rah kind of coaching style. But this team really does, even when they were losing, they play for the coach and they play till the end. This team is just, it's gotten hot. The defense is what's really impressed me.
That's the difference.
They'll give up yards in between the 20s, but they lock down pretty good. They've been getting turnovers, and they're getting so much production from the rookies and like second-year players. So that's huge moving forward. Even if they don't end up making the playoffs, going to have a top 5 pick most likely. So that's going to help. I'm excited. But, in typical Lions fashion, me, it's like, I don't know who shared it. It might have been Jeremy about when Hawkeye's like, don't give me hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm afraid the Lions are going to do. Maybe win the next 2 and lose to Green Bay or something like that. But I'm enjoying the ride either way.
What's the next 3? We got I know the Panthers are next.
At home against the Bears.
Okay.
And then on the road, Packers. So, they're winnable, but they're also, they could throw up a stinker and lose. But I just, they're playing meaningful games in December. That's all you can ask for.
Right. Now, but the cool thing with them is you're not screwing yourself by playing well because you do still have that Rams pick. So that's worked out way better than anyone could have imagined. You got to think when you did it, you're thinking that pick is picked 26 to 32, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
For it to be top 5 is ridiculous. Now, let me ask you this. You're sitting there in the top 5 right now in your head. Would you want – I'm going to say that Bryce Young probably gone at 1 to the Houston. So you're sitting there. You got Will Anderson or you got C.J. Stroud. What's your heart of hearts telling you right now?
I go Will Anderson.
I've seen him mocked. Yeah.
I like that other defensive tackle, the tackle from Georgia. I can't think of his name.
Yeah, but he's probably going to go. I've seen him mocked to Seattle.
But it's one of those things like, you only get so many chances to get a quarterback that high. But if you look at the odds, you're still not going to hit. So, they just have to figure out, is Goff really going to be the guy? I don't think Goff's ever really – I don't see him as a top 10 quarterback, even though he's having a top 10 kind of year this year. I just think he's a better than average guy.
You just have to get him – right. You just have to get him to the point where he's not the reason you lose. We don't need him to be the reason we win. He just needs to not be the reason we lose. And last week, he didn't look great at all last week in New York. Like very like substandard, like at best. But he didn't have the crucial huge mistake, I guess, to cost the game.
Yeah, they're pretty set on offense. I think this team they'll be good for a while as long as they stay healthy. But that's everybody.
That's the let's see. Do I have anything else on the Falcons standpoint? We got to see Ritter. I didn't have huge expectations. It is fun. Like I put in the chat. I haven't seen a rookie QB debut like since the Bush administration. Like it's been that long since I've even had to deal with this. So it's like a nervous feeling. Like what are we going to get from him? One thing that stood out to me, he looked way too overhyped in the first half. Was launching the ball, overthrowing everybody. Seemed like he was trying to do too much at once. And if you watch his interviews and how he talks, like I can't wait to bring a championship to this city and this and that, like stuff you don't hear typically from a 3rd round pick, right? So I'm like, dude, are you putting like too much on your own shoulders that like no one else is really doing, just you? And one thing I noticed, typically he's not a run first quarterback, but he is mobile. And typically rookie quarterbacks, the game is so fast to them. Rookie quarterbacks that are mobile, they do a lot of damage with their feet at first. He did not do that. Like he took off late when he did take off, and it usually wasn't very successful. Threw a lot of dangerous slants across the middle to London, which one of those is one that London fumbles to cost us a chance at tying the game. So pretty agonizing ending. You hate getting swept by the Saints. Like I wouldn't even hate. I mean, I would hate it, but it wouldn't kill me to have a season where we go 2-15 and the 2 wins are New Orleans. Like honestly. So that pretty much hurts. I hate that we're still in this hunt. I mean, I don't hate it, but we're still in the hunt for the division somehow. And our 3 remaining games are at Baltimore without Lamar, Arizona at home without Kyler, and then Tampa at home. And what I've said from the beginning is I don't expect to win it, but I want that Week 18 matchup to matter. I want it to have stuff on the line. Now let's segue to another. We won't call it favorite team, but another heartfelt team. Hey, there it comes. There we go. We have power at the Hayes house. When you get internet, if you want to switch up, I can stall while you go fix it up.
I'll stay on the phone, but I can use the laptop now where I don't have to keep constantly.
I'm with you now. I'm with you. But segueing, if that Week 18 matchup doesn't end up mattering, right? If Falcons are out of it, Tampa's rest of players, everything, best believe I am headed to Jacksonville to watch Week 18, the Jags hosting the Titans for what could be a playoff berth. So we'll see. So that could be exciting stuff. The Jags are playing really well. Humongous win against the Cowboys.
What if it's come to Atlanta's out of it, but yet if they beat Tampa, Tampa doesn't go and say Carolina.
Oh, that's tough. Don't do that to me, Ricky Ball, the evil on me, dude. That's tough. I'll have to figure that. Yeah, because I want nothing more than his last game in, because we never beat him. So for his last game to be where we won't beat we won't beat him with Ritter. Like it's not real. But I don't know. That's tough. We'll have to see. That's a good conundrum there. I like that. I'm doing smooth segues now. Let's segue from the Jags to the team they beat, the Cowboys.
Oh boy.
Pretty tough loss. I mean, about as bad as it gets up there. And you knew that with Parsons, looking ahead to the Eagles and whatnot, you knew this would be like an egg on your face type of game. Pretty much everything unfolded the way it exactly had to for the Jags, minus the Lawrence fumble. One question I have for you. I never thought I'd ask this. Right now, you're starting up a team. All you know is your first pick has to be the quarterback. Are you going Dak or Jalen Hurts?
probably go Jalen Hurts.
I need to say, like, I can't guarantee you'll have Nick Sirianni in that system. So that is a big influence as well.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just basing it off what I see now. I think Jalen's more dangerous, or I guess that's
I would give you that he is your higher upside, higher ceiling, lower floor option of the two.
And I'm not knocking Dak, all you Cowboys fan. That's not what I'm doing here.
Right.
I think sometimes tries to do a little too much.
Yeah.
So,
the game closing INT was not his fault. I mean, it was a tip ball, whatever.
Yeah. I'd be happy with either one of them, to be honest, but I'd have to go Jalen Hurts.
Dak has seven interceptions in his last 4 games. So while the offense as a whole has been humming more, it's been more on the backs of Pollard and Zeke, who have looked very good. But we'll see. That's a humongous game. What's up?
He doesn't really have weapons besides CD.
He's turned Noah Brown but I think that is a credit to Dak. That he's turned Noah Brown into somewhat of a formidable weapon. I like to see Schultz come back and come back a little stronger than he has. But yeah, I mean, he's the rookie that came into the perfect situation with the great O-line, the great rookie running back. But now it is more on him. So we'll have to see the humongous game, which now doesn't have as big as implications as we had thought with the Eagles coming up. So interesting stuff. Am I out of my good segues? Yes, I am. Let's talk about. Do I want to do this yet? Let's talk about the Raiders and Pats game. Finally, some good fortune for the Raiders, who obviously most of their fans, at least the ones in my world, believe that the world is out to get them and everything's stacked against them. They get one of the most fortunate calls I've ever seen when it's looked pretty obvious that Keelan Cole's foot is out of bounds, and they just say no.
Yeah. I was shocked about that. That was pretty clear that he was on the line.
Wasn't it? It was either XFL or one of the other ones that let you in live to the refs discussing the replay.
Yeah.
The NFL could go a long way in gaining back trust because you have this stuff coming out about how it's considered entertainment, which would technically, in a very strict interpretation of a legal sense, allow them to determine the outcome of games.
Well, you're a multi-billion-dollar company. Can we not get camera angles everywhere? Like even better camera angles?
Right. Even we got to World Cup with the offsides thing. What is that? Why can't we? How hard is this?
Yeah, it's true.
So that was pretty fortunate. Now, go ahead.
I said that last play was beautiful. And
the worst part, coming from a fan of a quarterback who got stiff-armed on national TV through the earth on Thanksgiving night with Cam Jordan, watching Mac Jones get thrown to the ground. I'm telling you, what happened was once he gets the pitch, his brain goes into, oh crap, we're in this type of play mode. So he just chucks it. How does it happen? One thing I did not know, I knew it wasn't great. I didn't know it was this bad. Bill Belichick falls to 11-12 against former assistants. So it's like the reverse of Saban.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I don't know. God, I can't even think of his name now. The offensive coordinator. When he was with the Lions. Why am I not?
Patricia. Matt Patricia.
I think it was Monday Night Football. Like the Lions hadn't even won a think of something.
That was the Brady Sucks game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It was the Brady Sucks game. Let's transition to that. Are we nervous are we nervous at all, or are we past nervous and we've just given up on the Bucs? What do we think? Oh no. The Tampa question has frozen Detroit. He's
Lost
back.
you.
We're back.
All right, we're back.
Was it me that got froze?
Yeah, I mean, you were just froze, but I don't know.
Oh,
It's been around here lately.
oh,
Like, I got
it's funny when it did it because I said, "Are we past nervous now with about Tom Brady and the Bucks, or are we, what's your feelings right now?" Because that was as bad a game as he's had. I'm not gonna pile on this time, but that was as bad a game as he's had.
One of the worst games I've ever seen him have. I don't know. There was a Kansas City game that he played when he was with the Patriots. It was really bad. And I remember everyone was asking if he was done. But yeah, I think this team's it's not good. They got way too many injuries. This offensive line is awful. And I'm not trying to deflect the blame because Brady hasn't been good either. He's been panicking because he knows he doesn't have any. They have no running game. It's the worst in their history. So they can't. Brady loves to do that play action stuff. Well, nobody's biting on that because they can't even run the ball. So
Right.
I don't know. Just it's brutal. I don't even like watching it. But if they get in the playoffs, I don't think they're going to beat Dallas. So
I know their next game against I don't know the game in between. That's what screwed me up here. I know their next game is the Bucks. The next game is obviously Arizona, and then the last game is Atlanta.
I have no idea.
What is that game in between? It's got to be division, right? It's got to be Saints, or have you already played the Saints twice?
I think they've already played them twice.
It's Carolina. Yeah, I knew that. Come on now.
Wow, that could be
Carolina at home. Yeah, that could be a big deal. I think that's going to go a long way in solving your little hypothetical you gave me for week 18.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. We'll segue from Bray. I got two more topics, then we're going. It's going to be a shorter show today, people. We can't go away in the playoffs, but this was the busiest and the worst conditions that the whole KDFL Fantasy Football podcast staff has been in all year. But we have a dedication to the people. We wanted to get it done and get it out. So here we are. Two quick other topics. We talked about this in Discord, and of course, like I am known to do, I don't say always do, I butchered my delivery. It didn't come across right. Matt Ryan's Colts blow a 33-0 lead, and you had the beautiful meme. It's actually freaking hilarious. He has the biggest regular season comeback biggest Super Bowl, biggest NFC Championship, and biggest international game, leads blown in NFL history. My whole thing was, I think, and then I flipped it and went, okay, my whole thing was, I think it is ridiculous to attribute that to him. And it sounds so biased. Here I am with my rookie card right by me, with my Falcons hat, my Falcons shirt. I want to say that I would say this no matter who the quarterback it was happening to was. Obviously, I can't guarantee that because that's not what's happening. But I want to say, like I've been on the Carr apologist train too with his situation because I see a lot of Ryan's career and what Carr's went through too. So I think it's nuts. I think Dan Quinn gets a complete scapegoat or gets completely off the hook, I feel like, for that Super Bowl. And it's all Shanahan and it's all Ryan that gets the blame. It just makes no sense to me. They're not playing defense. This isn't like golf if you blow a lead. This isn't like basketball where you're even playing both sides of the ball. Like it's a defense and coaching issue when you get a lead that big and you can't maintain it. I think one of the last people I'd put it on, well, not one of the last high-profile faces on the team I would put that on would be the quarterback of the team with the lead.
Well, yeah, I know what you're saying. And, like, I just shared that meme because I thought it was funny.
It's hilarious. The Infinity Stones, if he gets a preseason game, is amazing.
But it's like Jeremy said, though. Quarterbacks get too much blame when things go bad, and they get too much credit when the things go good. It also depends on, like, those games, each game. I don't know. I mean, the only one I saw really was the Super Bowl one, and that really wasn't Ryan's fault. So I don't know if the other games, if he, like, threw 3 interceptions in a second half.
That's a good point. It needs context. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, I mean, but for the most part, it comes down to, like you say, you get up big, then you start doing conservative play calling, and then you get a couple 3-and-outs, and then the game changes because of that. But yeah, there's so many factors. So I don't think anybody looks at Matt Ryan and thinks he's a big choke artist. It was just
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I'd like to think not, but I think he is the face of choking games away. And I think that's the most unfair thing. I don't know.
I like for it now because anytime something happens, they're always mentioned into it.
Well, selfishly, I am glad that, sorry to bring up bad things, that Shanahan did it again in the Super Bowl with the 10-point lead with 7 minutes, and that Ryan has done it now with the Colts. So it's like, it's not all Falcons, guys. Yeah. And then I saw the Raiders meme, just launching bombs at all the KDFL members now. The Raiders meme of all their blown leads this year. I was like, guys, I know it because I've had that same meme that shows all the Fox score bugs, and it says the Falcons lost all these games. And then I was like, oh man, I saw the Raiders when I said, oh, I feel for you. Let's end the NFL talk on a positive note, and then we'll get into the next round of the KDFL. Mahomes gets his 35th touchdown. He joins Breeze, Favre, and Manning as the only QBs to throw 35 touchdowns in 3 consecutive seasons. I don't know where Brady is on that. He's got to have a couple of times he's done it twice, right? I don't really know. This is not a setup. I don't know.
I'm sure.
I was surprised not to see his name, I guess is what I'm saying. Also a little surprised not to see Rodgers' name, but Rodgers, I feel like all his seasons are like 26-2.
Yeah, they're not like crazy. He's just known for not throwing interceptions.
Right. Yeah, all right, now here's my random fun fact. If this is wrong, my bad, but I got it right off the internet, and the internet is always factual. He played in Houston, right? This week, Mahomes. He played in Houston.
Yeah.
It is the first time in his career that he's played in Texas.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of wild, I feel like.
I just looked up Brady's stats. He had a season where he was 36, 39, and then 34.
That's right.
So he's, like 33, 36, then like 30 or 28. So, I mean, whatever. Mahomes is great. He's great. It's him, to me, is like how you guys see the media talk about Brady all the time. Like, they just fawn over the guy. It's aggravating.
I will say, I thought the pass to McKinnon got way too much love. I don't know if I'm just in a bitter place as an NFL fan right now, but I felt like that pass to McKinnon got too much love.
Some of these passes he does isn't necessary. He can just throw it regular.
Right.
But whatever.
Okay, are we ready to dive into the KDFL Playoffs, round 2? Let's get it going here. Hold on, let me bring it up. We're going to do it again. We got to start with the Golden Douche Tournament. Obviously, the Mega Powers and the Renegades were on bye last week. So that means this week we are in action, vying for that high pick that comes with winning this tournament. This is a prestigious third year tournament. So Detroit, take it away. Let's begin here. Kanawha County Kings, Roxland Renegades.
All right. The going into this, I would think obviously they were the last team out of the playoffs. The Renegades are definitely the favorites to win this.
Mm-hmm.
They are a 23.5-point favorite right now. They got some nice matchups. I think Goff. DeAndre Swift is just not the same player we all thought he was going to be, but whatever. He's still got Nick Chubb and Montgomery. Kings, they've been talking so much smack about how they're going to win this tournament. That the trophy was coming to them. I don't like that when you have to start Kenny Pickett as your quarterback. They got Brock Purdy, but he's pretty much just a game manager. So I don't even think this game is going to be close. The one matchup they had was like a 73-point win for the Renegades. I think we're going to have another repeat performance.
Okay, so he's going Renegades. We talked about it earlier. Jared Goff gets another. It's a tougher road test. Although Trubisky did move the ball pretty well against what we thought was a very tough Panthers defense. So Goff with those weapons, I mean, he should be able to duplicate. We'll see on that. Nick Chubb needs to be full go for the Renegades. That's a crucial piece because I worry a little bit about Montgomery. If Khalil Herbert's back, I worry about it getting into Montgomery's touches a little bit. So keep an eye on that. The Kings' QB woes continue to haunt them. Like you alluded to, we need Pickett to have a strong day against a very not good Raiders defense. And Brock Purdy gets Washington. Will Chase Young ever come back? If so, he could affect that matchup quite a bit. But it's just too much firepower on Roxalan's side. They are the clear favorite. The last win out of the playoffs was always going to be the clear favorite in this tournament. So with all that firepower with Roxalana in this Dunbar v. Dunbar matchup, I'm going to have to go with the Roxalana Renegades. Next.
Nice.
It's our time to shine, baby.
That's right.
Is the rubber match. The third time this year literally has no choice but to be a record for games that matter. It's the River Rats going down to Melbourne to take on the Mega Powers. Take it away, Detroit.
Yeah, in our previous matchups, it looks like I outscored you in the first one by 28. And in the second match, it looks like you outscored me by 29 points. So 1 point difference in those two matchups. Right now, you're a 6-point favorite. I definitely like your quarterback situation better. Watson going against New Orleans. I think Watson's going to start getting better every game. Dak Prescott going against the Eagles. But I think the Eagles are going to be a little down this week. I don't like that I have to start Davis Mills. Derek Carr going to Steelers. I'm throwing in old Zach Moss this week. I guess he's going to get some carries now that Taylor's out. I'm hoping that that's going to be the difference. So I'm going to take my team by slight 3 points. I'm going to win by 3.
Calling the shot. The reason why my projection has went down, I have learned just now. I've looked at this earlier today, but now I've learned that the Mega Powers will be without Jaguar first overall pick, Trayvon Walker. So that is, we're going to have to shift around some stuff and get the D-line right in Melbourne. My notes, Watson is still looking shaky. He has not had a game over 20 points since he's been back. So he looks very, very rusty still at times. So we need to get that going. Him versus New Orleans, I do like that matchup for him, and I do want him to continue to progress some. Mills with the Texans, this QB carousel thing they're doing, I don't fully understand it. Honestly, though, by watching him, Driscoll looks the most impressive to me. But I mean, we obviously he's been around. Like, we know what we have in Driscoll. He's not a long-term answer. So I think Mills is still brought in to see, what does this guy have left before we fully commit to Bryce Young. London was heavily targeted by Ritter, a lot over the middle. I want to see that continue this week. Rashad White does get Arizona, which is a favorable matchup, but that should be a slower game pace with McSorley being in at quarterback for the Cardinals to slow that game pace down. So, like you said, the Tampa Bay running game hasn't been strong. White's been a little bit of a lone bright spot, but not nearly as effective as you'd like to see. And he mentioned got some wild starts in this one for you, my man. Zach Moss. Who would have thought you'd ever start Zach Moss and Devin Singletary? Obviously on separate teams now, but wild to see. You would think it's going to be Deion Jackson getting the rock for Indy, right?
I would think so. Yes.
But I mean, Zach Moss is. Wait a minute though. Zach Moss has got a lot of heavy projected here. Oh, I might be missing something. Missing something.
I was surprised by that, but it was either that or Chubba Hubbard, and I don't know if I can start him.
Yeah. I was looking to see if Deion Jackson had an injury tag. He does not. So I don't know what's that about. And finally, like you pointed out to the scores, in both of our matchups, the winning team scored over 200. The losing team failed to reach that mark. So basically, it's a race to the Fildoza line in this game. I am obviously going with the Mega Powers. We have a date with Destiny to be in the finals, to play a former champ in the Renegades, and go after that pick. All right. Now, let's head to the business that really matters here. It's the semifinal round. Our first matchup is the Dobermans taking on the Sinners.
Yes, looking at the projections, the Dobermans, who are 12-2, are only a 1-point favorite against the 7-7 Sinners. I did say Sinners this week. I didn't say Saints. So the Sinners have been riding high with Pollard. He's got Jones. He's got Stevenson. That's a nice running back core. And his wide receivers are pretty stout. I hate pulling a Phil here and just naming every receiver, but you got Hopkins, Diggs, McLaurin. And we all know that the Dobermans are run by the quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. And CMC is the running back. This one is going to be, man, I went back and forth with this, but I'm going to say there's going to be an upset this week. I know Reed's going to kill me for doing this, but I think the Sinners are going to squeak one out. The other one I don't really care for on his team is McLaurin going against the Niners. Or McLaren. I don't know if I said that right. Whatever.
McLaurin, you had it right. You had it.
All right. So matchups I'm liking. So I think the Sinners are going to pull up the upset. Oh, wait.
All right.
She was starting too. I forgot about that. I'm still going with it.
Now that is sage wisdom, because I almost forgot to do it again. I forgot to give Detroit the props. He is our 2022 KDFL Pick'em champion. He dominated the regular season. He got a 6-game lead by week 4 and never gave it up. So props to you, my guy there. Looking at this matchup, big time QB advantage to Dogtown. Hopkins may struggle with McSorley, but he should have a little bit of a decent base. He might be able to still get double-digit points. So looking at that, and then do I have it? Yeah, okay. I'm getting messed up on my roads here. CMC, I look for him to be more featured heavily against Washington. And let's see, nice running back matchups all around the board in this one to me. I liked Pollard at Philly, Aaron Jones at Miami, Stevenson with Cincinnati. I like a lot of these running back matchups. So I see a lot of the points from the offensive side of the game in this battle coming from the running back position. But when the games are this tightly projected, I have to lean towards the ones with the stronger QB situation. And that is by far Dogtown with Allen, with Burrow versus Cousins versus Minshew. So give me the Dobermans making it to the championship game for the first time in, I want to say, 8 years or so. 2014, I want to say.
Yeah, when he went back.
Possibly 2015, but I'm pretty sure it's 2014. All right. Now, this matchup is extremely intriguing. It's a replay of the title game from last year. It's the Thunder Buddy Bowl. It is the Midnight Riders versus the Evil Empire. Take it away, Detroit.
Man, this game. I mean, the first matchup was a 278 to 241. I mean, that's high scoring. I mean, he scored 241 expecting the win. But, of course, you're taking on the Evil Empire, and we're just loaded. I love the Evil Empire with Mahomes against Seattle. Justin Fields against Buffalo. That one should be tight. Going with Kelsey, he's going to score a ton. Even though this says, obviously, that the Midnight Riders have the wide receiver advantage, I still like the Evil Empire's receivers and their matchups this week. This one's going to be close. I think if Mike can get some good production out of, let's say, Zach Wilson, he has to start Zach, which is not ideal. If he can get anything from him, and then the Evil Empire has a player or two that doesn't score what they're supposed to, this is going to be a close game. But in the end, I think the Evil Empire are just too loaded, and I think they're going to go to the championship and try to get their 4th title.
All right. So I looked at this, and I'll be honest. If we pulled the heartstrings of the KDFL and the KDFL Fantasy Football Podcast Nation, they would be pulling heavily for the Midnight Riders to come out of these 4 teams.
I hope. Absolutely.
Right. So I'll have this. Eckler is a highly underappreciated running back 1. I feel like no one talks about him, and he is the running back 1 on the season. So he just gets it done through the air so much. I don't understand how he is as overlooked as he is. But Fields is finally getting the call in the Evil Empire lineup with Hurts out. That is going to be very interesting. He's kind of come a little bit back down to earth from his huge games that he had at the beginning. If you look at the games, it just added up on me here. Week 9, 45, week 10, 40. Since then, it's been 22 out, 17 bye week, 25. So it's come back down into pretty good, but not astronomical numbers. So that's obviously a huge thing to follow there. If McKinnon can stay this effective, then the Midnight Riders are right in the thick of this thing. And my problem is I don't absolutely love the wide receiver matchups for what is the strength of the Midnight Riders team in the wide receivers. But Drew Alexander's going to be on Hill. Devontae Adams might get an ugly game in Pittsburgh. The Giants, I don't know. I don't love it from that standpoint for the Midnight Riders. And then I go back to my adage that I said in the previous game. When I look at matchup this close, I look at the quarterbacks, and you're telling me that the Midnight Riders are putting their hopes on Zach Wilson to do enough to get them into the KDFL Championship. I wanted so badly to pick the Midnight Riders here, but I could not look myself in the mirror the next day if I picked with my heart and I went with Zach Wilson to dominate the Jags in order to get the Midnight Riders in. So sadly, give me the Evil Empire. And there we go. It's easier and easier each week in the playoffs to predict these games. Fewer and fewer ones that matter. Next week, there will only be 3. There will be the Golden Deuce Championship, the KDFL Championship, and for the sake of talking, we'll throw in the 3rd place game. Why not? All right. Back to us to wrap up. You can see the sun is setting in Melbourne. So, real quick, and we'll end it here, but we got to go over our locks of the week. Last week, you hit your upset with the Jags beating the Cowboys. I missed my upset, but I hit my lock with Miami. Remember, guys, division road teams, heavy spreads. Love that spot. So Miami covered against Buffalo. So Detroit, what do you have for us this week for your 2 picks?
My lock of the week is I'm going with my Detroit Lions -2.5 on the road against Carolina. I think they're going to keep this streak going. And my upset, I don't really like many of these out there, but I'm going to go with the Giants, who are on the road. They're Minnesota's favored by 4, but I think the Vikings are pretty much locked in their seed where they're at. Well, maybe not with the Cowboys. I know, yeah, they won the division, so they're locked. I think they're going to have a little bit of a letdown after that huge comeback. So
I like that.
I'm trying to talk myself into it. So, but yeah, that's my upset and lock. And Brett, you suck.
All right. Now, so for mine, I like the Browns getting 2.5 against New Orleans. I don't believe in the Saints team. That was an ugly ball game. They scored 2 touchdowns early and didn't do much after that. So, and I am looking for Watson to get more and more of the rust off. For my upset, you're right. This is a hard slate for the upset picks. I don't know why I have a sneaky good feeling about this, but the Packers sneaking in and getting a win in Miami, it doesn't even look right in my head, though. It's Miami's hot. Green Bay's in December, but they're in a hot element. Every up is down, down is up. But give me the Packers to still stay alive in a playoff fight over the Dolphins. So
when they
that reps.
when
What's
they
up?
I was gonna say when they give the Dolphins like 4 losses in a row.
Yeah. So everything doesn't make sense for this upset pick, but we're gonna roll with it because it's Aaron Rodgers and trying to make a playoff push versus an unexperienced team in that regard. So as always, follow us at the KDFL or at KDFL Fantasy Podcast on Twitter. Follow Detroit at John8374. Follow me at Brett Steele 2. And that's it. Next week, we will have our championship matchup, Detroit. Are you prepared?
I can't do another Fire championship. I can't.
No, please, no.
All right.
All right. So happy holidays to everyone from the KDFL Fantasy Football Podcast family. And I just trap myself again. I do it every week. I trap myself into my sign off. It is a signature staple at this point. So for Jonathan Detroit Haynes, for the Captain Phil Rexy, I'm Brett Steele, and we will see you next week with a championship match on the KDFL Fantasy Football I Got a Voice podcast.